Hello, welcome to another weekly video. Today, I felt like I should try to share my story. Again, I shared it when I first started my channel, but um, I just thought I might go over it again and maybe try to give a little bit more detail. I always kind of struggle when I share my story because um, I know a lot of people had worse situations than me growing up. Um, excuse me. And if I go into some of the examples, they may not sound so bad by themselves, but there were some really difficult things that I went through. Um, the worst thing about it was probably how many things happened for so many years, and never really much love in between those things. It was just the amount of things and the amount of time that I went through them. I'd probably say that was the worst part of what I went through. But um, I guess just to briefly go over some of the details. Um, excuse me, my throat's a little dry. Um, I had two parents. Um, my mother and father. They were married till I was 8 years old when they got a divorce. I had a older sister, and just to give you some of the details, before I was 8 years old, it was not a good environment for children. My dad was addicted to crack, and he would disappear for days at a time. And if you know anything about drugs, he was on like a pretty bad end of it. He would sell my mother's wedding rings, and he would forge checks from I think it was my mother's account. Yeah, whatever. He would just forge checks, bad checks, and stuff like that. My mother would have to uh, use the money from her jobs to pay it. He couldn't keep a job because every time he would go work somewhere, he would take money from the employer, or he would take money from the employees to for his drugs. And if he ever had me and my sister with him, like I just remember a few times where we would go to businesses, like this one time we had to get our car fixed. Well, I guess he was getting his car fixed, and he left us at the mechanic shop, and my sister had to find a phone and call someone to come pick us up. That happened several times, I remember. So we were left at places by ourselves, and he would go and use crack, and and we didn't know where he was. And like I said, he'd disappear for days. He sold our lawnmower for drugs. He sold our the family car for drugs. Things like that. I remember him coming in and out of the home. Wasn't really stable or anything, but um, he had a really good, like kind personality, and he was very loving. So, it was hard to hold a lot of things against him. But um, on my mother's end, she was just very cruel. And I don't think that she ever intentionally meant to be cruel. She didn't know how to deal with my dad. Like in the beginning of their relationship, they were on drugs together. They even used crack together, and um and I suspect when I was very young, um, like under the age of 5, that she was still doing crack and things like that. But I'm not sure. There were just she had some really strange behaviors. She had bipolar and um, some serious mental illnesses where um, she would she would leave me and my sister places too, but not really to go get drugs. She would kind of just um, she would have errands to run or something like that, and she would just kind of leave me and my sister at the library downtown, and we'd just be there for hours by ourselves. And my sister kind of joked that we were latchkey kids, which I guess means nobody really took care of us. We were kind of on our own. I remember she was the only one that could hold a job down in the family, so um, she would be at work till late hours, and me and my sister were kind of on our own, um, just to take care of ourselves and stuff like that. And and then because me and my sister were on our own, um, my sister got sexually abused by someone outside the family. Um, I think it was in a subdivision we were in. Some stuff like that had gone on, and she eventually sexually abused me for many years, and that was all before 8 years old. And and I remember my mother was just very very cold, and she didn't seem to want anything to do with me. I can't speak for my sister. I think they had kind of a different relationship, but up until I was 8 years old, I, she barely spoke to me. She barely interacted with me. She she felt more like a roommate than a mother. A lot of things that happened, I heard through my sister. My sister was kind of the only way that I knew anything about my mother. The only way that I could really communicate with her, she would just kind of pass messages through my sister. And every time I tried to talk to my mother directly, she just didn't seem like she wanted anything to do with me. So I'm only saying that because that's just how I felt in the situation. And there was a deep sense of neglect for both my parents long before age 8. So you know, by 8 years old, they had divorced, and my mother my mother and father met a couple in church, and um, they were much older. They were about 15, 20 years older. They were kind of like a parent figure, I guess, for them, older parents. And um, my mother started having an affair with this older man from this couple they were interacting with. And this older man, his wife died, and so he was, I guess, trying to find someone to be with too. So they started having an affair together, and it was not really a secret. Like, my sister had found out they were they were doing inappropriate things together, and while my mother was still married to my father, and my father had gone to rehab to try to get better, and this is when a lot of stuff was going on. And so they essentially got caught by my sister, as she caught them doing stuff. And so they I guess they all tried to communicate with each other and come clean. And they were, because they were all in the same church, they all tried to go to the pastor and try to make things right. I guess committing to each other not to have the affair, and get back to a better place. But my dad just couldn't stay off drugs. And like I said, it was a constant thing, him going out and using and then coming back. And so my mother finally had enough, and she decided that she did not want to be with my dad anymore, and decided to go be with the older the older man that she had been having an affair with. And within a couple months, they decided to get married, and she divorced my dad. It was really hard for us as kids because it was just really quick and fast, and we weren't really communicated with much, and there was a lot of strange things that happened that felt inappropriate. But it's kind of you could tell it was kind of like an ignorance type thing. I'd be in the car with with my mother and the new man, and they'd just be touching each other a lot, and I'm not talking about sexual. They just they seemed like they would do things that didn't feel right to do in front of a child. But anyway, after the divorce and my mother remarried my stepdad, she became really um, well, I don't know if I could say angrier. She just seemed to take her anger out on me and my sister more than she did before. I guess she was taking it more out on my dad when they were married, but she just became very angry and violent. And I'm going to try to summarize so I don't go on too long, but um, she started physically abusing and verbally abusing quite a lot to me and my sister. My sister would kind of just scream right back at her, and and so I didn't really feel a lot of the abuse until my sister left home. So so just to give you a timeline, my sister, I mean, my mom married the older man probably when my sister was like 16, and then she left home at 18. So she was only in that household for a couple years. She didn't have to experience but so much. But when she moved out, I started experiencing all of it hitting me from my mother. She was just very cruel and cold and mean, and you know, I could go into a lot of examples, but like I said, I just don't want to go too long on this video. So anyway, um, you know, I didn't really have anybody I could talk to, and anybody I talked to kind of tended to take her side, and the older man that she married, he took her side a lot of times too. If I ever tried to go to him about some of the things that she was doing, she misled me in a lot of situations. She didn't seem to want to get to know me. Anyway, I guess I'll probably save some of the stuff that happened between me and her for another video. But I think I'll go ahead and try to wrap it up there. Think I have any last minute thoughts about that. Um, I mean, I guess I would say the worst part of what I went through really was after the divorce. You know, I mean, the neglect was pretty difficult. Feeling like she was always a roommate was tough. But I had my sister. Me and my sister got along great when we were younger. We always had each other. We depended on each other. My sister taught me almost everything I knew, and I had that kind of person to lean on and companionship to not feel so bad until the divorce. And when my sister left home, that was another reason everything just got worse for me. But anyway, I'll try to make a part two to this, and just go ahead and wrap it up here. But anyway, I thank you for watching. Have a nice day.